I would like to
me, but go
hire
ahead.
Lisa Copland to represent me.
No, she can't do that. Nobody on my show can represent against me. That's a disclaimer. Y'all didn't know that. Anything come against me, you can't represent against me.
Well, and I would like to say we have attorney Patrick D. John of the Barclay Law Group, as well as attorney Lisa. I'm sorry, got you again, Lisa. I'm loving you with the circuit court here. Attorney D. Renee Jackson of the Law Office of D. Renee Jackson.
Hey, before we go on, I mean, we did this, for our after-show information, but I want you guys to just say a little bit about yourself. We talked about you a little bit. Pronounce who you are. Let the people know who you are. I want them to know that we got some people on here that, really know what they're talking about instead of them just thinking, I'm saying that even though I'm a preacher, sometimes people don't believe preachers. I don't know why that happens. But sometimes it should never happen. But sometimes people don't believe preachers. They don't think we're telling the truth. Shame on those people. I digress. But go ahead. Renee, talk to me a little bit about you and give some information about yourself.
Well, I am a sole practitioner. The name of my firm is the Law Office of D. Renee Jackson. My firm is located in the West Loop. I concentrate my practice on civil and criminal litigation. On the civil side, that involves domestic relations, which is the topic for the show tonight.
You got some information. Say I want to contact you. How can I contact you?
You can contact me by calling 708-LAW-9383. Again, that's 708-LAW-9383. Or you can access my website, dreneejacksonlaw.com. And that has all of my contact information, which also includes a link to my blog called When Love Turns Legal. All
right. When Love Turns Legal. Go ahead, Pat.
Hey, my name is Patrick John. I've been practicing law about 17 years. I work for the Barclay Law Group in Chicago. You can visit us at Barclay Law Group if you Google it, and you'll see me and all the other fine attorneys that work at our firm.
All right, Miss Lisa Copland, right? Copland.
Yes.
See, I can say it right. I don't know about her.
Yes, attorney Lisa Copland. I'm in private practice in Chicago. My firm is called Lisa A. Copland, PC, and I focus primarily on family law, which is divorce, child support, custody, visitation, etc.
Okay. Now, I said something, Renee, you wasn't in here when I said it. I'm letting my baby. Once you're on my show, you cannot represent against me. So just letting you know. There's a disclaimer. If anything comes up, and it ain't, but if anything comes up, y'all cannot represent against me. You've been on my show. So
and for a nice retainer, I will honor that request.
Go ahead, baby. I'm at to work on her because she's looking for money from me already. The other one just nodded their head like, yeah, we ain't going to represent you. Go ahead, baby.
A lawyer. Okay, let's see. Let's go with Pat. How and where do a person make child support payments?
Okay. In Illinois, they tend now to, for the most part, they want you to make, if anyone in Illinois has a recent child support case, I'm sure the SDU, State Disbursement Unit, is a familiar phrase, because it used to be, people would get into he said, she said about how much money was paid, when it was paid. Sometimes a guy would say, I paid this money, but I paid in cash. Or I paid using a money order, and I don't have the receipts for it anymore. And so to try to minimize accounting problems, they came up several years ago with the State Disbursement Unit. So anywhere in Illinois, if you have a child support order, you can pay to one central location, and they keep a record, and then they send the money to the mom. I think she could even set up electronic accounts.
Yeah.
And she can go online and all that type of stuff. So that helps to, at least so we're not arguing over what was actually paid. Because that used to be, when I first started practicing, I remember seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, and that was a big issue. At least I'm going to ask you this question here because being that big of an issue where, you pay cash, money order, and you don't keep, good records, what is, what is the best way to do that? And if you do, is it just crazy to pay cash? I mean, you have no, there's no record that I paid cash unless, of course, you can show that $40 on that line it says on your bank account child support, which it ain't gonna do. Is it just crazy now to pay someone with cash, basically, since you can't, have any record to say that I actually made that payment?
I don't recommend paying child support via cash, I know that you can make a payment at the clerk's office towards child support. I don't believe that they will even accept cash. So if you need records, it's not recommended.
Okay.
I always thought that came automatically out of your check.
Not necessarily.
I am learning a lot.
It can, in fact, more and more. I remember when I first started practicing, a lot more guys had a problem, were really resentful of the money coming out of their check. I remember when I first started practicing, and I would tell them, you know what, this actually helps you because there's no way you can miss a payment by accident. There's no way someone can say you didn't pay. Your payroll department takes it out, sends it to the state disbursement unit. They send it to mom or have an account with mom. You don't have to worry about it. Now, I don't hear guys too much. Sometimes guys will even ask for it. They'll say, look, I don't want any problems anymore. Go ahead and take it out. That way there won't be any issues. I wanted to say something. You made a joke about no one can, it'd be a conflict if anyone represents you after being on the show. I had this funny, such a small world. I had a lady call me one day and said, oh, someone said you're a great lawyer and I should call you for a divorce. And I said, okay, go ahead. And tell me, what's going on. So she told me what's going on. And I said, oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's terrible. Listen, I think you have a great case. We can get some money for you. So now what's your husband's name again? And she told me the name. I was like, that's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
So you know what? I can't take your case.
Right. Yeah.
Well, small world. Stuff happens.
And the friend wasn't me, by the way.
No, it
just
wasn't.
Make sure. Yeah.
No,
and here's the thing that's funny because you're talking about how now that they can take money back. I did some research, and back in 1989, they wasn't actually taking it out. And they had some stiff laws in certain places like New Jersey, where New Jersey in 1984 had to collect $183 million of back pay from people because they wasn't paying the money. Because at that time it wasn't being taken out and people wasn't paying and they didn't have records for it. It jumped up and within 1 year from $183 million to $280 million that they were collecting because they had such of an issue with people paying child support. Now, let's look at it from a different perspective. And I'm going to go over to Renee for a second. Renee, how are we hurting the child when we're not paying this child support? How does the courts ever look at the child, or is it just a financial thing? How do they look at the child and make sure that this is more about the child and than it is about the individuals?
In domestic relations courts, if a child is involved, it's always about the best interest of the child. I mean, of course, we have the percentages and we have a particular statute that we're following, but at the end of the day, it's always about the best interest of the child.
Mm-hmm.
I have had cases where because dad was not paying support, the child had to basically come home and be alone, waiting for mom to get home from work because there just wasn't enough money for her to go to a daycare program. So when you have instances like that, that's clearly not in the child's best interest to be left at home waiting for mom. And so, in my opinion, it's always about, we have the percentages, one child, 20%, two children, 28%. We have the deviations we talked about, upward or downward. But at the end of the day, it's really about the best interest of the child. Yeah,
so, Pat, is the state concerned about the best interest of the child? Because like Renee, and I keep saying Renee says, a child support is not only financial. There is more about child support than financial, right?
There is, unfortunately, the only thing that, a judge can't make you love your children like they should, but they can make you pay money because that's something concrete, and they can take it out of your check and threaten to put you in jail. I remember, now judges will encourage the involvement of both parents, or encourage dad, but actually, once you pay the money that you're ordered to pay, and there are some people, I'm sure most lawyers in this area have been in cases where, and I have, where the father is so upset with mom over something that he says, you know what, fine, you'll have the money, and that's all you're going to get. You'll take the money, and I don't want to see you, I don't want to see the kids. And the kids suffer for that, but there's really nothing. The judge can't say, look, you've got to go take him to the park and play ball. There's no mechanism in the law that makes him do that, even though it would be nice. You can't order somebody to love somebody else.
So you're saying you can't instill morals and values in that deadbeat father that's out there,
or deadbeat mother?
You know what Dr. King used to say. Morality can't be legislated, but conduct can be regulated.
Yeah.
But you can't force love.
Yeah, that's true.
But you can make it pay that money.
Yeah.
You can yank it right out that check.
You know, it's so crazy. You got something you got to add? Let me just say something.
Okay, but it's leading to the great question behind
Yeah.
that one.
Okay, the crazy thing about it is that, they got big brother, big sister. There are requirements that you have to be a big brother. You've got to be with them for a while. But when it comes to the child, there's no requirements. Now, they're taking away the driver's license, and I'm going to pass this over to Lisa, and this is just an assumption. I'm not actually have your legal ramification or legal expertise on this, but here's the question. If you can have guidelines for big brother, big sister, and we're taking away the license, why don't we have some kind of a institution where if that father is not spending time with that child, his child support might be increased because you're not doing the amount of time to be with that child? Why is it that we're only worried about the financial part of it and we're not worried about the mental part of it? Because the mental part of child support is just as important as the financial.
That's a tough question. Unfortunately, there's not a relationship between the parent paying the statutory amount of child support and the parent's failure to meet their visitation schedule. So the court can't necessarily punish that parent for not following visitation by increasing child support. And the increase in the money wouldn't necessarily compensate for the parent failing to come to visitation anyway.
Yeah, it's true, but my thought process, I'm gonna go to you in a second, is that if you talk about taking some more money from me, I might step up a little. But what you gonna say?
Well, now, if you are before a judge and you're discussing more than just child support, let's just say you're discussing visitation. In Illinois, judges can order that parents attend parenting education classes. They can order that the parties attend mediation. Through that process, the parenting education program in particular, it is designed to help people realize that the focus really is on the child, perhaps how to be a better parent, how to be a more involved parent. So the judge can't order the parent love the child, be a part of the child's life. But through these two programs, hopefully we awaken responsibility and the fact that this is just a little person brought into the world by two people.
Tracy has a question here. As a mother who raised 4 children by herself pretty much most of their lives, my question is this. You're saying that the judge can't make you love your child and all of that good stuff. But there is, when they go to court with you and they ask for all of these visitation rights, can a woman go back and enforce those? Because if you're saying you're supposed to have them on these holidays and these weekends and everything, why can't we as women or men enforce these rights so that we have equal opportunity to our lives?
Well, unfortunately, visitation cannot be enforced. But what can happen is perhaps, let's just say you have a parenting agreement or an order that says dad gets the child every weekend. For whatever reason, that's the order. And every Friday, you and the child are waiting for dad to pick up the child, and dad doesn't come. That is a huge inconvenience. It's a letdown for the child. But the judge cannot say, I'm going to punish you for not showing up, but he can take away some of that visitation time, okay? And I know that doesn't exactly solve your problem, but unfortunately, visitation cannot be enforced.
So you telling me, D. Renee, this man ain't doing nothing. He deadbeat to the deadbeat. He ain't doing nothing. He paying the money only because they taking it from him. He ain't watching the child the way he's supposed to. I want to go on, have a weekend off, but he ain't never coming by. And there's nothing I can do because I got money from him. I can't go back to court and say, hey, he's not doing his responsibility. Can't they put him in jail or something?
Well, I'll give you, there again, every question is, I usually start off by answering, it depends. So I have